It all started with a question in the middle of 2016. Why there are so little women in data and tech? Me and my male co-founder Pavel, we were discussing this, and we decided to organize an event for women only to teach them about tech and data, to inspire them to learn more. We had no idea how many women would register, but we were thinking it's going to be maybe 30 of them. We had 500 of them at the end, and we couldn't find a bigger room than 110 women, which we squeezed in there and started the session. We called it a Data Girls. When we came to Australia a few months later, our partners have already heard of this event, and they asked us, why don't you do it here? And we were quite surprised. Why would we do such an event in Australia? Isn't equality in tech already existing here? The question and then demand of those courses that we've set up showed us otherwise. It was very interesting that this movement was never actually planned as something from the beginning to start a global movement. But what we did, everywhere we went, we organized the event, and we found local volunteers who helped us to run it. In the beginning, the very first year, it was just me and Pavel organizing it together with our first help, Eva, who is now running the Sydney chapter. 4 years later, we do have close to 120 volunteers in 16 countries around the world, and we taught over 8,500 women about data and tech, but as well about some soft skills and about digital marketing. We do have plans to open in Middle East and North Africa in the next month. We are opening and planning chapter in India and other places. This movement would not exist without the incredible help of individuals, our volunteers, our instructors, people who helped us on our way, and our partners. So celebrating the 4 years now is a great moment for all of us who helped us to empower women around the world. With She Loves Data, we empower women with knowledge about the data, technology, and digital literacy. Check us out and join us. We would love to see you in our online and hopefully soon offline events close to you.
Hello everyone, this is Arpita Chopra. I'm part of She Loves Data Malaysia chapter. So I'm with immense excitement, I would like to welcome you all for our today's webinar, which is Data Analytics Enabled by AI and ML. Okay, so our agenda for today is we'll start with the welcome note and the introduction of She Loves Data. Then that will be for 5 minutes each. Then we have a presentation on AI and ML for an hour, which will be followed by Q&A for 20 minutes. The agenda is shown in Central European Time Zone. Guys, if you have any content related question, please direct it to Q&A. And if you have any difficulties regarding any technical difficulties, please use the chat button for that. So who She Loves Data is? So She Loves Data, we are a non-profit organization which is run by volunteer. It is founded in 2016 in Singapore. We focus on the importance of diversity, data, and data literacy by conducting free meetups, webinars, and workshops for women. We inspire more women to pursue tech careers and help them to get ready for future of jobs. We want to build a community where local and global network data tribes learn together, support each other, and enjoy the journey. because it's all about data tribe. It's all about women in tech. Wow, so the numbers are amazing here. So we have 17 chapters globally, and we have trained around 13,000 plus women around the world. We have had around 150 plus workshops and successfully done 4 hackathons, 2 conferences, and 50 plus online events. We have around 25,000 plus social audience. The numbers are really amazing. Our key activities here. So we focus on intro to data analytics, where the more focus is on BI tools, analytics, SQL, and visualization. Meetups, soft skills, deep dive to tech, where we have our advanced AI and ML engines. Then we have MarTech for data-driven marketers, which is just overview of the digital marketing landscape from a data and measurement perspective. Last year we had 3 days workshop on digital marketing. You can check that out on our website. So community in numbers. So we are around 16,000 plus members in our She Loves Data community globally, from 27 different industries and 9 different job roles, where we have students, top management people, self-employed, and many different levels are here. And the focus skills we have is Python, Power BI, Tableau, Google Analytics, machine learning, and SQL. 36% of women in our community are considering a career change into data and tech, and even in Australia, the percentage is much more higher. Our work in numbers. So as we had around 150 events, where we had the number of registrations were 23,000 plus, where the unique registrations were 16,000, and the percentage of attendance is average percentage of attendance is 47.5%. We had unique 8,000 people, which are 8,000 unique attendees here, and we have had online session and offline sessions as well. Guys, please check out our website www.shelovesdata.com and watch out our posts and social media regarding all upcoming webinars. Thank you. Here we have our speakers today, Redim and Dr. Angela. Redim is from Czech Republic and Dr. Angela is from Malaysia. I would like to pass the speaker to Redim. Redim, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Arpita. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for having us. So today's webinar is focused on machine learning and AI, and we are doing it together with Dr. Angela Lee from Sunway University in Malaysia, and we split it into 2 halves. So the first half will be from me talking about actually what is machine learning, what is AI, really general introduction, and then I will pass word to Dr. Angela, and she will talk about like practical application and what they are actually working on. So the first part will be more introductory. If you already know a lot about machine learning, just wait for the deeper dive with Dr. Angela. But I think that for everybody it will be great to actually start kind of from the beginning, from what it actually is. So let's talk about AI. I started this this presentation with screenshot of Wikipedia of the article about artificial intelligence, which I think kind of illustrates the difficulty of this topic, how it's hard to approach it, how it's hard to tackle, because when you look at it, it's just like 5 paragraphs of introduction that's already kind of difficult to understand, and then there is some like illustrating picture that really typically some people use to talk about it, and I don't think that's the best start for this topic. And let's try talking about AI from different angle. Let's start from what are computers actually good at, and then from that go why do we need machine learning and how is it different? What's actually the point of it? And we'll look at some latest achievements, what has been done in the field in general. And the last part from me will be kind of a little bit of thinking about, okay, what counts as artificial intelligence, and talking about where is the boundary of what do we consider to be like intelligence in general. And of course, then I will hand off to Dr. Angela Lee, and she will talk about real world use of machine learning in customer analytics. So let's begin with what are computers actually good at? So the expectations about machines that will do things for us go far into the past, of people imagining, oh, we're gonna have robots and they're gonna be kind of like us, they are gonna think and work for us. And like the popular culture is just full of these references going back hundreds of years, and we can see that this expectation is really like deeply in our culture, in our like way of thinking. Oh, we are gonna have machines that are gonna think. And then we get computers. Since, let's say, 1950s, 60s, the development of computers, then 80s, 90s, getting personal computers, which is definitely not what the science fiction authors have exactly expected, because it is not a machine that looks like a human. It's something completely different. It's a machine that has some graphical interface that we look at, but that's not, of course, all. It's kind of nested like the Russian doll. Inside we have some computer code. I'm sure that many of you like have done some coding, but that's still not everything. It runs on some machine instructions, and those are actually working with some simple calculations. What is behind it? Magic. Well, it's super interesting to get to the point of what is actually inside the computer. What's the very basics of it, like the logical operations. It's really like simple yes no operations that can extrapolate in all the way up from the simple calculations through the code to the graphical interface to everything that we see on the computer. But in the end, it's just very simple calculations, and that actually defines what are computers good at, and what are the limitations that they have for us. And what our computers like naturally good at are very quick, simple calculations, which is actually why they were invented, to do quick calculations, because people can do it by hand, but it just takes long. So the researchers, and all the way like to the history of computers, wanted to have that done faster. Also, they are good at storing numbers. And of course, numbers can represent any information. What we are looking at right now, the screen, it's just pixels, and each pixel is represented by color and brightness and everything. And those are just numbers stored somewhere. And computers are amazing in storing large amounts of numbers, basically large amounts of any kind of information, of course. And third, they can very well follow predefined sequences. So if we want to automate something and it's like a predefined sequence, we can perfectly like set up a computer to work with what is there stored, and calculate something and follow predefined sequences. That's like what computers are amazing at. And now comes the question, like, why do we need machine learning? Like, what are computers not good at? So starting from the point, okay, computers are amazing in some things. I will just take the slide here to just have it in our mind. Okay, very simple calculations, storing numbers, following predefined sequences. Well, there are no simple ways for computers to do creative tasks, some not predefined operations, and understanding complex inputs. For example, so we can tell computer, okay, we want to have this sequence of slides, but we cannot simply tell it, oh, create these slides for me. That's, we work with it, we know how the limitations look like, but it's not obvious like why the limitations are there. So people in the past used to expect, okay, we are going to have machines that will think. Turns out we have machines that are extremely good at these three things, but not really that good at things as understanding complex inputs or doing operations that we did not predefine. And now here comes machine learning. This is basically trying to like circumnavigate around these limitations and make the computers to perform something that they are naturally, let's say, not very good at. And let's talk about the last part, understanding complex inputs. So what is a complex input? Well, for a computer, complex input can look like this. We all see that this is like a picture of a number 8. Like instantly. It's so simple, right? It cannot be more simple. But what does it mean? Like, how does it look like in the computer language? How you say it? Like for a computer, it's a matrix of pixels, a matrix of numbers. So basically, it's a lot of numbers in rows, and we still can see the number 8 in there. But for the computer, it's just like a lot of numbers. None of the number is actually an 8. It's just like zeros representing black and like larger numbers representing gray and white pixels. But in the end, it's a lot of numbers. But for the computer, it's not easy, we don't have any easy way how to make it recognize, okay, this is an 8, and if we draw something else, then okay, this is a 7. So around this is kind of like a typical task for machine learning. And now, how do we make it? How do we make it understand that this is an 8? There would be methods how to do it without machine learning. It would be possible maybe to kind of make algorithm that will find, okay, there is like one group of zeros here and a group of zeros here. It looks like, okay, this 8 typically has like 2 circles that could be an 8. But that's not machine learning. Machine learning is a different approach. Machine learning is an approach where we just take all of these inputs, all of the numbers that are here, and somehow combine it to get the right output. And this question is how to combine it. And we can simply teach the computer, okay, this is an 8. That's clear. But we can easily test it on examples. Let's imagine that we have hundreds of images of number 8 and hundreds of images of different numbers. And we can just make something, let's say even random structure that just combines all of these inputs, all of the numbers that go in there. And we can test, is it hitting right or wrong? And we can eventually and test if it works, like how many times did it get right? And basically, the most simple approach would be just to try as many random structures as you can until you find one that consistently performs correctly, that consistently gives you 8 for this kind of input and actually answers the question of what is in the picture. Of course, it's more clever. We don't actually make it like trying only random structures. There are very clever ways how to adjust the structures in such a way that we quickly find one that actually works that way, that it gives the right answers, and eventually it works for the task that we are trying. But we did not predefine how does an 8 look like. We just used a set of hundreds of images and tested, okay, is it performing right? And once we find a structure that performs right, we say, okay, we have a model that answers it. So and then it looks like that we put 8 on the input, and there are 10 different outputs, and for the outputs that signals 8, it gives, okay, this looks like it's an 8. And basically, what is all this stuff in between? That's exactly the simple calculation. It's just adding those pixels together and subtracting, and in the end, it's giving us answer. But we did not set it up manually. We did not predefine it. We just had a learning set, and from it, we found a structure that works the way we want. And if we put 5 on the input, it correctly says, okay, this is a 5. And it almost sounds stupid from this kind of perspective, but it allows to actually create amazing things. This kind of like thinking switch from, okay, we are not predefining for the computer for it what it should do, but we are testing it on examples and making it basically learn, making it learn in such a way that we are adjusting it as like until it's doing the right thing. So basically, just as if we are selecting a student who answers correctly, basically on random. And there is like a lot of jokes about it in the community for, okay, what is the difference between a machine learning algorithm and a Parrot? Well, they both learn random phrases. They don't understand what it learns actually, because there is no cognition happening. Of course, it's just finding structure that actually works in a way that we want for it to work. Yeah, it occasionally speaks nonsense. For the for the example that I showed in the previous slide, if we put there something different than one of those 10 numbers, it will probably say, okay, if we put like letter G, it will most likely say, oh, it's a 6, because it looks close to a 6. But it really is just limited to what it was learned, like what was the set of the inputs. And of course, parrots have the amazing advantage of being cute. Well, so now moving from and making a really huge jump from what's the like very basic idea of why to do machine learning and what is machine learning, that it is actually how to make computers do something that is not predefined, but that we just tricked kind of the computer to do. Let's have a look at some latest achievements. And the last example here was with the numbers, and kind of there is a way how to like take this kind of approach of making this is called neural network, of course, that is trained for recognizing, let's say, numbers, and kind of flipping it upside down and making it generate numbers. So we can put number 5 and it generates images that look like number 5. And this can be or has been done in let's say a million times more advanced way, and the result is a machine learning algorithm or neural network called DALI, which can generate pictures, and can generate pictures based on like complex input. So let's say here the example is, we say we want an armchair in the shape of an avocado. And it is not a search engine. It does not search like Google, okay, maybe somebody already has done chairs shaped like avocado. It actually generates these pictures based on its like database, but it's not exactly database, but the neural network knowing kind of what avocado looks like, what armchair looks like, and okay, if we want to combine these two, what would be the result? And okay, this still might be something that it has seen online, but it can do better. It can do things that actually never existed before. So like this one, a funny one, an illustration of a Pikachu in a suit riding a unicycle. The researchers really tried something that's never been done anywhere by any human, never seen on the internet. But the neural network can put these inputs together and create illustrations that some of them actually look very legit, and kind of shows that, okay, eventually we might be able to make computer like a tool that's creative for us, you know, that we think, okay, we want illustration of this, and it will draw it. And that's like amazing step ahead from just the search engines, and which are already incredibly amazing, but this is actually generating completely new content. And another one that I would like to mention, and most likely if you've heard about machine learning or read about machine learning lately, you might have heard about GPT-3, which is a language model that actually is able to generate text in a similar way as DALL-E is able to generate images, but also kind of to hold a conversation. And this is an example of conversation when the model is actually answering, and the conversation is really like coherent and following the like the thought process of what you would expect a person would do. Like, what is your favorite animal? My favorite animal is the dog. Okay, this is simple. But then question is why? Well, it's related to the previous one, and it generates again not something that it found online, but actually from the model itself, it generates a consistent answer. And basically GPT-3 is on the level of what was considered to be like necessary for like to have intelligence for it, like the Turing test. Okay, if you can talk to it and it seems human, it's intelligent. Well, but of course it's still very limited. And the question now is, okay, so what does count as artificial intelligence? So we have some stuff already that looks very convincing that it's creative, or that it's able to understand and answer. So is it intelligence or is it not? And there is actually something called the AI effect in the community of machine learning and artificial intelligence. And a famous researcher, Rodney Brooks, described it as that every time we figure out a piece of it, it stops being magical, and we just say, oh, that's just a computation. So things that were considered to be like necessary to have intelligence for it, that were figured out, we then classify, okay, that's just machine learning, that's not true intelligence. Like in the past, it was thought that to play chess, you need to be intelligent and have the general kind of like human level intelligence. But of course, already in 70s or 80s, the algorithms that were not even machine learning based, they were kind of like the classical algorithms, researchers were able to design them in such a way that they outperformed the best chess players in the world. And the same happened recently with Go, which was also for a long time considered to be like a like really huge step up, and considered that for that game a true intelligence was necessary. And then it was achieved, and the AI effect comes, and we say, oh, that's just computation. So now, where are we drawing the line? So currently we call it like, okay, let's call everything AI. And you might have noticed that every kind of every product in the world, whether it is like a remote control television or a thermostat or a light bulb, has AI in it. So that's what we call narrow AI. That's something that can learn, but in a very limited environment, to understand, okay, what temperature you want during the day, and to set it up correctly. And it lacks consciousness or cognitive abilities, but it can be very good at specialized tasks. So as I talked about playing Go. AlphaGo is the best Go player in the world, basically. And also Google Assistant, Alexa, Siri, that can understand what you say and for limited set of actions they can respond to you. That's what we call narrow AI. It can seem intelligent, but definitely is not human level intelligence. And that's what general AI is. So that's something that's definitely not here yet. Similar to human intelligence, also known as strong AI, full AI, and can solve unfamiliar problems. And that's the what we now consider like the defining difference, that narrow AI is trained for a narrow task that it can solve very well. General AI should be supposed to have like the human level intelligence and solve unfamiliar problems. And the question is, of course, then where is general AI? And this is something that people have been asking for a very long time. And of course, it's never easy and mostly impossible to predict the future. But I think that there is kind of a similarity between current state of AI and what was aviation in 19th century. So basically now we are working with some artificial neural networks that can already do some things, but not the human level cognition. In the 19th century, people were trying to fly with limited like success, and they were trying to mimic what birds are able to do, because we can obviously see the birds fly in the sky. And kind of similarly, we can see that, okay, humans can think, is there a way how to recreate this process? And who knows, there are like two fundamental like hurdles in this. Like, first of it is understanding what we are actually doing. So in the 19th century, no, like this guy trying to fly did not understand aerodynamics. Like the field was not yet well known, and there was not a good understanding on what is actually going on when wing is flying through air. Similarly today, like neurobiologists are trying to understand what is going on in the brain, how does it work, and of course the understanding is still is amazing, but still very limited, considering the whole complex set of processes that is going on. And another limitation is just like kind of physical limitation. In aviation, it was engine power. You cannot build airplane with steam engine. That's just too heavy and not enough power. And similarly today, we are still constrained with computational power, because even like the biggest computers today kind of lack the complexity of a human brain. Like when you compare a single chip with a human brain, only like from the first kind of approach, what's the number of parts, what's the complexity of the structure, the human brain is way more complex. And that's kind of reminiscent of the fact that if you have just steam engine, it's most likely not possible to build an airplane, especially if you don't know what you're doing because of the lack of aerodynamics understanding. And similarly today, it seems like we don't have yet the computational power for true general intelligence. And of course, we don't even know how to get there, which does not mean that it's impossible. Most likely it is possible. And it's just super difficult to predict and get an idea of when and how to actually get there. So this is just like a little bit food for thought. It's amazing to think about it, amazing to read about it and everything. And with this, I will get back to like the basics. So we talked about what are computers good at, and why do we need machine learning as like a field? How is it different from what has been done with computers 20, 30 years ago? We looked at some of the latest achievements of, okay, what is possible with machine learning now, and finally now talking a little bit about artificial intelligence, like where is the line between what is just computation and what is actual intelligence. So I hope that you've learned something new. And with this, I will give the word to Dr. Angela Lee to talk a little bit about real-world use of machine learning in customer analytics, which is something that she's a part of, she works on, and I'm sure she will tell us much more about it.
Thank you so much, Radim. Thank you for the introductions and also a brief information on machine learning and also artificial intelligence. Okay, so shall we just move on to a little bit on the customers analytics? Okay, so let me just move my screen a little bit so that I can see a sheet of data. All right, so where should I go? Okay, I should move over here a little bit. Yes, okay, perfect. Okay, so let me share my screen with you guys. All right. Now, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, it's all good.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So today I'm going to share with you guys on how can we actually apply customer analytics, especially on predictive customer analytics in your business itself. Okay, so we're going to look into the applications of predictive analytics, of course, and also some of the use cases that we can actually apply in our everyday life. So let us first look at the first slide itself. So the first slide, obviously, it shows you that you have lots of customers. And when we have lots of customers, when a business has lots of customers, that's equals to success, okay? With plenty of revenues coming in. So we actually wanted to look into how to maintain the customers and also give our customers a great satisfactions, okay? Great satisfaction in the sense that they are able to purchase your product and you know what they are purchasing, and at the same time you are understanding, you understand how your customers actually purchase their product and also how they run around into your shops itself, okay?
I guess we have some technical issues here. Hello, Dr. Angela, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You can just turn off the video so that the connectivity will be better. So meanwhile, Dr. Angela will be connecting. Radim, can you help us to address the questions we have?
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's do a quick Q&A now, and then go back to Dr. Angela's part.
Yeah, that sounds good. So we have a question here, so please go through it. Can you tell me more about Six Sigma, SAS, PSCP, and CSPA?
Oh, well, that's a lot of
Terminology.
not very related things. Maybe if like if the person asking could specify like what part they were thinking, because of course, like in SAS there are like things based on machine learning and stuff like that, but definitely like very general topics. Do we know from Dr. Angela?
She is connected, but she's not able to share the screen.
Huh.
Yeah, Radim, I'm here, but I'm unable to share the screen. I need the host to actually disable that features for me.
I will try to just.
Yeah, I can't even start my video as well because yeah, you got to
Well, try now. Please try now. I've changed the settings, and apologies to everybody.
Right. Yeah. Right. So I'm going to off my video just that I have better connections first. Okay. Let me go through all the slides. Okay, great. So where were we? Okay. Can I continue now?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. So we are at the identifying the customers. All right. We have done this and the challenges. Now, why? There is challenges. That is because we have large target markets now. All right. So there is huge challenges now. We can't give them personalized services to the customers anymore. And there is less direct contact to the customers, more scattering target because we want to find out the right customers, and more global competitions as the customers don't just buy from your shop, but they can actually go to everywhere to hunt for their product itself. So there will be more options for customers. And also there is a need to actually predict customers' behavior. Okay. So when there is a need to predict customers' behavior, that is because your data is so huge and large. So when your data is huge and large, this is where your customers' analytics will comes in. Okay, you will need to run some algorithms on your just so you can actually predict customers' behavior, and then you can build models and target prospects. And then of course you get to identify resources to solve problems if you have found any problems that is happening onto your customers itself, because nowadays you don't usually complain. All right, you don't usually complain about your services or the products that you have received back to the owner of the shops itself, but instead you will vent it all out into social medias or any other places that you can, message to. So that is really difficult, okay, for customers, and also very difficult for the business who would like to retain their customers. All right, so they would normally venture into predictive customers analytics. Now, what is customer analytics through social media sites? Okay, so you will have lots of social media sites nowadays. You have like your Facebooks, blogs, okay, news sites, wikis, forums, everything, okay, websites. And all these are actually trying to create a brand, okay, a brand for your product so that you will stay competitive, right, to your competitors. So of course, when you have lots of social media interactions, lots of social media data on the internet itself, this is where you need to have social media monitoring, social media measurement, and also social listening. This is because this will actually brings you closer to your customers, okay? And how do we personalize our social media? It's very simple, because you wanted to understand your customers better. You wanted to know the important users, insights of what your customer is thinking, whether would they leave you, whether what kind of product they will purchase from you. So all these things will be stored in whatever activities that they are actually doing on your social media page. So you will have data storing everywhere, okay? You will collect your customers' intentions data. How do you collect customers' intentions data? First of all, of course, you will have their data being stored in customers' relationship management server. You will have storing probably the number of clicks that they are clicking onto your website. You would also store their demographic profiles, and you will also store what kind of social media do they log onto your product. So when you identify your customers and you know what kind of products that they are purchasing, you know what kind of channels to reach out to them, you also need to have specific agents to actually hold accountability or to communicate with your customers better. All right, so these are actually a chain. Okay, what you see is actually a chain of communications, and through this communications and channels, of course, you will gather data. So as you gather data, you might be gathering their demographic data, you might be gathering their activities of their data, you might be gathering their communications data through emails and so on, and then you can segregate them into tables like this. Like for example, this is just an example, okay, nothing is real. Demographic, we have a person named called Roger and his age 40 and gender male, employed yes, income 75,000, maritals, married, and interactions data that would actually link to this particular user. Okay, whether has he visited the website? Yes. Has he bought any web products from you? No. Has he received any emails? Yes. Have he responded to any of your emails? Yes. Tweeted about you? Yes. Called sales? No. So from this kind of interactions data, you would roughly know whether Roger would stay on to your product and continue to purchase and be a loyal customer to your company or not. Okay, so analyzing all these customers data is really important. Now I'm just taking two examples over here only, just the demographic and interactions data. And of course, there are plenty of data that you can actually collect, especially from all these channels. Okay, so with this data, you are able to identify multiple data sources, obtain complete data, all right, with this kind of information gathered. Then we move on to how AI provides smart customer solutions. Okay, now AI, of course, can actually help us on providing lots of smart solutions, not just on customers. AI can produce healthcare analytics, can actually help us on customers analytics, on optimizations and so on, operations, banking, entertainment industry. So let us now look into how AI actually helps us to provide smart customer solutions on e-commerce industries itself. So you can see that when we look at, or when we apply artificial intelligence, you will actually see that you can actually use any of the AI technologies, okay, to create a virtual digital shoppers. Okay, and these virtual digital shoppers then can actually give you recommendations on new products, and you get to like identify the customers' buying patterns and also data insights. And the best part is they can even identify what kind of product that you will purchase. Okay, if you were to purchase a blouse, you probably would also purchase a handbag, for example. Okay, so they are so smart enough that they can actually analyze what you will actually purchase from it. AI in the fashion industry. So when we talk about fashion industry, the ultimate goal is we wanted to reduce the numbers of return goods. Okay, that is the most important, because if you're talking about having things like moving into online and so on, okay, and you can't really look into the challenges of it, because you wanted to make sure that everything runs perfectly for online sales, and you at the same time you wanted to make sure that people are continuing using the website to purchase your product. So the number one thing that AI in fashion would look into is reducing the number of return goods. Okay, now how do you do that? Okay, how does AI can actually apply that? So AI can actually store whatever information that you have clicked on before on the app itself, and they can actually suggest you the right apparel sizes, your style preference, so that you won't get too loose or probably don't get too tight on your clothing. And this can actually help the fashion brand to return its product returns and improve repeated purchases. This is the most ultimate things that online services or online community would want to achieve, okay, to actually produce the goods, the right goods at the right time to the right people. So what about the other use cases that you can actually apply in customer analytics? Okay, so you have personalizations. You want to keep customers loyal to your brand customers. consumers, okay? Because you want to treat majority of your customers like everyone the same, and you want to make them feel that they're so special. So you want to give them some personalizations treatment and all this, because your customers, let's say if your customers is growing so huge, so big, and with large number of customers, you still want to give them these personalization services. So in order to provide this, you might want to apply some customer analytics algorithms that actually helps you to analyze the customer's data, behavior, and then you can send out the most suitable promotions or the most suitable product to the right customers, okay? And also site search would allows you to deliver the results of what your customers is looking at. So it will then capture the number of search counts, the accuracy to predict what you're searching. So all these things will be highlighted into the system of artificial intelligence, and they will keep track of every single movement that you click on, right? So another use cases that we can actually look into would be the optimizations on supply chain processes. As you can see that we have manufacturers, we have distributors, and you also have logistics, okay? And then we have store 1, store 2, and store 3. So you have the customers itself, which the customers would like to purchase some of the product, and then you have to make sure that the product actually reaches to the customers at the right time and at the right conditions, okay? And also the situation. So you're going to make sure that the whole optimization supply chain is perfect, okay? It's perfect and able to run smoothly. So you can actually apply analytics algorithms to help them to calculate the number of time, okay, to predict the request coming from the customers, and also to predict the availability of the logistic, okay, in this sense. So lots of stuff that can be done, okay, and this is one of the example, Alibaba Singles Day blowout. Now this is really a real case, all right? I've gotten from the Alibaba last 2 years when I was in China, and they were telling me that it was so massively blown out when there is Alibaba Singles Day, okay? There's lots of goods, there's lots of orders, and they couldn't really manage it, but they apply artificial intelligence into their systems, their logistics, and they are able to send all the goods out on time. Okay, now that is really fantastic. Okay, so you imagine the number of goods that they have and the number of transactions that they have in that particular day. It actually blow out the whole internet capability in China. So that massive, right? So AI can actually help you in lots of places, not just on fashions, not just on customers. It also helps you on the logistics. And lastly, you can even apply customers analytics to retain your customers, all right? You do not want your customers to leave you. You want to keep your customers. You want to keep them going, and you want to keep them continue to use your product. So you've got to analyze their behavior. You've got to know what they're thinking. You've got to make sure that you know their buying behavior. All right. So you know when their income is coming in, and you know what kind of product that they normally purchase. That is the best part of running the customers analytics. Okay. Now we have applied some of the customer analytics on real data. Okay, on real data. These are a few research topics that I have done together with my students. So we have actually used customer analytics in analyzing attributes from certain products. So using text mining, which we focus on skincare review. So we have taken like Estee Lauder, La Mer, then we have to analyze the reviews and also the comments of eye creams. we apply text mining and sentiment analysis into it, and we realized that a majority of the customers' reviews focus on the price and the quality of the product itself. Now, all the while we thought that, okay, it is the packaging of the product. Okay, all the while we thought that, oh, it should be the packaging of the product. You know, you got to look good, you got to attract people, you got to make sure that people like your product. You know, so but the reality actually shows you that no. Okay, people commented about the price, people commented about the quality of the product itself. So after we run the analysis, only we found out that this is not what we usually think. Okay, we usually think that probably it's the packaging, but actually in real fact, it is not. It is just the price and the quality. And this actually would be their distinct selling point. And it's absolutely good when you wanted to run a branding campaign, okay? So this is real life data that we run, text analytics to improve customer services. We also run sentiments, value, comments, indicators on how people feel about things. So then we extract the terms out and we segregate them into different segments like negative and positive so that people get to see everything together. And then we also apply social monitoring, media monitoring on the customers' reviews and also decisions on Airbnb in terms of affordable prices, reasonable, good price, reasonable prices. These are the terms that we actually gather from the forums and also the reviews of Airbnb. Okay, so these are one of the analyses that we actually churn out, which is called the context diagram. So the context diagram is a very beautiful diagram which actually shows us the connections between all different types of terms, okay, that link up together. And these terms can actually give us a very insightful meaning of what people has been reviewing about the product. So you can apply the same concept onto your WhatsApp group, your Facebook page, or whatever data that you have, because you see you have groups in your WhatsApp, okay, so you have lots of chats, you have lots of people been talking here and there, and you wanted to know the important terms that normally people touch base on. So you can run a text analytics on those data, and then you can create some sort like a context map over here that actually links up with all the terms that is being connected to it, okay? So from this particular diagram, I get to see the connections that people would normally define affordable price to Singapore, Airbnb, and they want it to look good, and they want it to be in the central of locations. They want to have good food around the Airbnb, and most importantly, they want to look into how affordable that Airbnb can actually provide them. Okay, so these are the main few reasons. So it's exceptionally good, these findings for the following Airbnb, because then they will know what to improve at. Okay, so this is one of the examples. So based on that, of course, you can actually derive out the sentiment analysis of how many people say they prefer comfort, how many people say that they prefer facilities over locations, over the restaurants, cleanliness, and so on. So you can segregate them, and you can even analyze the number of frequency terms that people actually applied. And of course, from those terms, you can even create a word cloud. And this word cloud would then allows you to see the people perceptions towards the positive and also the negative text of the whole reviews. Okay, so the bigger the word is, means there are more people talking about that particular phrase or that terms that is being used most of the time. Right. Okay, right. So now, other than creating word clouds, okay, other than creating word clouds, other than looking to text analytics, text mining, sentiment analytics, you can even segregate your customers based on a few segmentations. This is where we touch on customer segmentations, where you run customer segmentations algorithm to look into the demographic in terms of age, so that you know that you can actually come up with special discount for certain group of people. All right, so for teachers, you probably get a 25% off, right? In terms of occupations, in terms of birthdays, in terms of lifestyles and values. So you kind of know your customers, who they are, okay? What would be their hobbies? Okay, what would be their occupations like? What would be their age like? And then you create that promotions, okay? That promotions that allow these customers to actually leverage on it, okay? So it will be exceptionally good for all your customers, because they feel that they feel very personalized, and they feel that you really know them, okay? So today's key point summary would be, of course, if you were to run customers analytics, you are able to do upselling, cross-selling to the specific target group of people. You get to create different types of customers group preferences based on their liking, based on their age, based on their preferences, okay, basically. And you get to generate customers' loyalty. You got to make sure that they are loyal to your product, and they know that they will stay on, and you know that they will stay on, and you will do some promotions, and you know you can even calculate out whether these customers are about to leave your product or not. Okay, so you know that, oh, this Angela has not been purchasing this product for a very long time. Where has she gone to? Okay, so maybe I should start to send her some coupon and say, send her some stuff to make sure that she's still alive and she's still looking at my product. Okay, so you can generate customers' loyalty based on that. You need to discover response patterns on your customers. If, let's say, the customers don't respond to you at all, or the customer responded a lot of times, so you know what kind of customers that you are getting, and then understand their pattern, response to them immediately, because that will definitely improve customer satisfaction. And you are able to find unsatisfied customers as well and keep them satisfied with your product. And most of all, the most important thing is that you are able to prevent customer attrition. Okay, so that is the most important one, because customer attrition would then allows you to keep your customers going and continue to have greater sales. So you can also discover customer buying behavior through all these customer analytics. So customer analytics basically is very, very, very important. Okay, it is essential stuff that you can actually apply into your business, and you should actually apply into your business so that you can actually maintain all these things. But of course, this is just an introductory, so you get a flair of how things can actually work in artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms. And then, of course, with doing all this analysis, you got to inject in all the technical stuff into it to be able to generate out the results. Okay, right. So the last one would be, implement continuous improvement. Of course, once you're done with everything, of course, you will be able to improve your business. Right. So that's it for my sharing today. I hope it is not too difficult for you guys to adapt.
Wonderful. Thank you, Redim. Thank you, Dr. Angela, for the wonderful session. So now we will move ahead with the Q&A. So we have plenty of questions in the row. First question, I would like to start with Dr. Angela. As here the question is, could you please repeat about identifying the customers? The first slide where you missed out.
Yes, identifying customers. Okay. Radim, is it okay for you to on my camera?
I hope so. I hope so. We already saw the slides you were sharing just a few seconds ago. Yeah, all good. We are seeing it.
Right. So this is the slide that the participant was asking, identifying the customers. So what was the question again?
Could you please repeat about identifying the customer?
Okay, so when we touch on customer analytics, it is important for us to first know our customers better by identifying who are our customers. Okay, so that is the most important part, because you got to identify the potential of the customers. Okay, who are your potential customers? What do they want? Okay, what do they want? What kind of items that they would like to purchase from you? And how can you find these customers so that you would have more customers coming into your business? Right, do I answer you?
All right. So can I move to another question?
Sure.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so the question for the speakers here we have is how to get started with AI.
Yeah, well, this is, I guess, for both of us. Well, in general, there is like a lot of online courses. Many of them are freely available, which is amazing that today the resources are like much better than they used to be just like 5 years ago or something like that. From those, I would definitely recommend Coursera or Udacity, but it definitely makes sense to start with some general like data processing, to understand, okay, where can I get data, how to store them, how to visualize of what kind of data I have before applying the machine learning models or whatever predictive analytics you want to do. So I would recommend starting generally with data analysis, and this can be, by the way, done with She Loves Data, of course, as well, with their intro to data. Or there are, again, like many online courses also available for data analysis, and then continuing into machine learning as well. Maybe Dr. Angela, if you have a recommendation as well. And maybe we have lost her with the poor connection.
No, her mic is mute.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, Radim?
Yeah. Sorry, maybe just dropped for a second.
Yeah.
I was asking if you also have some recommendation where to start with AI and machine learning. Like, what's your best case approach?
Okay. If somebody are actually wanted to venture into AI, of course, there's lots of short courses that you can actually venture into.
Yeah.
You can actually get yourself enroll in any of the short courses. Now, the most important part, let's say if you want to pursue a career in data science and you wanted to be a data scientist, okay, in the future, then of course you got to have lots of experience first in the sense of having different kind of explorations of data first, okay, because it does comes with experience in you getting to know the data and playing with various sort of data, applying different types of algorithms, and that's the route to being a great data scientist. Yeah.
All right. So the next question we have, apart from business data or survey, are there any suggestion of open source data repository that student or general public could obtain for analytics?
Yeah, there is actually a lot of open data sources available online. It really depends on what kind of data you would be seeking. Like there are, for example, many repositories of image data for image recognition training. A lot of like even hundreds of thousands of labeled images, which is amazing for trying to do some to try some models. So I guess I'm not recommending like one particular. It depends on what kind of data we are talking about. But there is a lot of available, especially for images. That's I guess like the easiest start.
So Dr. Angela, would you like to share something?
the moment.
All right. So the next question is, what are the languages or tools we have to learn for doing machine learning and AI?
Oh, well, from like for the beginning, I think like in current year and time, the number one recommendation would be Python and like then possible like libraries within Python. I think that, as I mentioned, with starting with AI and machine learning in general, it's best to start with data in general, and the same would apply with data and using Python, and then start using try some of the libraries that are really designed for machine learning, like TensorFlow from Google, or there is PyTorch. There is like a lot of them. It depends again on specific task, whether it's for image recognition or predictions of data, like time series. There are like huge numbers of libraries for everything. So Python in general, it's the best basis, and then continuing with the libraries for the specialized area that you are interested in.
All right, thank you. So the next question is, for ML, what is the best method to predict high accuracy of customer analytics?
This would be for Dr. Angela mostly, I think.
Sorry, can you repeat the question again? And can you start my video?
Redin, can you help her to start the video?
I will try.
All right. So the question here,
because I think over here it says that the host unable.
Okay.
Yeah, it's from Redin's side.
Yeah, what was the question again?
For ML, for machine learning, what is the best method to predict high accuracy for customer analytics?
Okay, that's a very good question. Okay, high accuracy for customers analytics. Now, there's a lot of theories, and also there's a lot of algorithms that you can actually apply in order to look at the accuracy. And at the moment, we are still researching with lots of algorithms, and we are trying to see which are the best method, because there's a lot of machine learning algorithms which you can actually use to apply. Like, for example, you can use like decision tree models, you can use linear regressions models. So these are the few technical models that you can actually apply on it, but it also depends on what kind of data that you're receiving. So there's no specific techniques or algorithms that you can actually use to give you the best predictions, because the researchers are still researching it on different data. Okay, so the robustness of the data and also the algorithm has to take into place.
Thank you, Dr. Angela. I'll move forward with another question. The question is, as a beginner, which tool can be used for data analytics in product management?
Well, that is interesting in product management, as in if it is as in retail, when you think about like what products to use to sell and promote, etc. That's very broad topic that we here in ILDIG also have like a lot of experience with. In general, it might be the best to start with something simpler, basically just with BI and tracking the performance of individual products, and then starting some classifications which can be done almost in anything. It doesn't have to be like some machine learning from the very beginning. It's possible to start with data analytics in product management just with like pure descriptive analytics, and for that I think starting with some like BI tools is the best.
Yeah.
So do you have any suggestions, Dr. Angela, for the same?
Radim commented was right. Okay, some basic tools is right for you to start off. Like we have like a lot of free tools available, like RapidMiner, Orange, or even Power BI, Tableau. It looks at what kind of data that you're looking at. If you're saying that you wanted to venture into visualizations, then of course Tableau, Microsoft BI is available, Power BI that you're available for you to actually look into that. Yeah, there's plenty of tools. Otherwise, you can actually go into coding, right? Code, use Python, code it out. Yeah.
All right. So here we have another question, which is for sentiment classification, what is the best approach for better accuracy?
The same thing like just now what I have mentioned for accuracy itself, you can actually apply, but majority of the time we uses the decision tree to actually help us to run the customer segmentations into several groups of people to find out the predictions. So that would be not the best model yet, okay, but of course you can actually apply different types of algorithm to actually test it out. Yeah, but majority of the time it depends on the cleanliness of the data itself, okay, how clean the data is, and then of course from there you can actually give you a better predictions results.
All right. So the next question we have, how can we overcome uncertainty in unpredictable environments? Past data might not be relevant to teach AI about the future.
Yeah, well, that's that kind of answers itself with the word unpredictable. We had a lot of this situation in the past year and a half with the COVID situation, as we work with sales data, and of course we could not predict that the stores will close because there is like a wave of COVID coming, or that the sales of toilet paper will spike because there will be a panic that there will not be enough toilet paper in the future. And these are truly unpredictable. And this basically is limitation for any model, whether it's like AI or just like thinking and guessing. The limitation is always the same. If you don't have any indication, like any input that would give you an idea, okay, there is gonna be some huge event, you will not predict it. So basically that's a limitation of any technology until we have some sentient AI that knows everything about the future, but we are definitely not there yet for a long time.
Yeah, and of course, when you're talking about unpredictable environments, okay, of course, the historical data do play a very important role, okay, to actually come up with a pattern. But then when it touches on unpredictable environments like what we are now experiencing, right, a whole new set of data would need to pump into the machine again to allow them to reanalyze and recalculate and to readapt everything again. Okay, so to retrain the model so that they can actually predict better.
Okay, so the next question is for Dr. Angela. So the question is, it will be very useful for a product owner or a brand owner in reaching the right people with right goods, as you mentioned. What about data privacy? Do you think it is balanced, especially when it comes to AI and also protecting the consumer's data privacy?
Yes, so this is a very good question. Okay, data privacy is a very new area which we are all going into it to look into how we can actually secure the data, because it is important for lots of people to actually look into data privacy of the customers itself. So if you're talking about when it comes to AI in protecting the customer's data privacy, you've got to make sure that the AI itself would have a certain how to say algorithms or blockage that can actually will not release the customer's informations widely disperse it out. Okay, so it has to have some sort of rules that has to be set into the AI machines. So yeah, so there's another question saying that how do you ensure that the customer doesn't feel threatened towards the data being taken from them and retain them? So yes, so this is also a very, very important questions because in order to actually make sure that the customer actually feel that they are not being threatened, okay, towards the data that's been taken from them is that that is where you have all the privacy policies given to you so that you can take and actually say that you agree in releasing those informations to them. So it goes back to the data ethics of the company itself. So the data ethics of the company has to make sure that they don't sell your information out, they don't sell your data out, but instead they use it for just solely on improving their business. Okay, so when it is just solely improving on customer service, improving their own business, then it's fine. But if you are releasing the data to another third party user or company to actually look into different type of analysis, then you are actually breaching the law.
Thank you.
Right.
So the next question is for Radim. Do you think it would be possible in the future to have AI generated malware?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I think so, and not too far into the future. Actually, already it is happening that like ransomware and some like spam is AI generated. That it's not as simple as it used to be before. That it had to be a person trying to pursue you to give them your credit card details or things like that, or that it was like badly written, you know, a template email that was sent to thousands of people. Already, it's happening that these like malicious causes use the technology as well to generate like more convincing emails and test them, you know, and do the feedback learning loop to find, okay, what kind of text is the most convincing for the people to get the credit card information. And this is, of course, incredibly dangerous and makes it much more difficult for spam filtering and everything. So we are already there, and it's as it has always been a fight between like the protection and the malicious causes. So definitely this is one of like the biggest threats regarding AI, that it can be used for these causes as well, and of course nobody can prevent it basically, because once you can as you can learn it online, you can apply it for anything you want. Yes.
All right.
Very good question.
Yeah. What do data analysts actually do in their day-to-day job, as the analytic part is done by the software or AI?
Well,
Interesting.
yeah. Good point. Well, it's the same as with every job, I think. As you say, like, what does accountants do when they have accountant software? Well, it's always just a tool, and as I kind of explained, that we don't have the general AI, and where are the limitations. We still need people for actually coming up with the ideas of what do we actually want to analyze, and processing the results and communicating it to other people. So actually, I don't think that there is coming any like the data analysts will have less work with better tools. No, there is such a need for data analysis that this is definitely what I think is definitely not an issue.
Thank you. So the question is, what coding languages should I learn to start a career in data and AI?
I think we already kind of covered it with the tools and languages in the beginning. Yeah. So yeah, general recommendation Python and general and then starting with data analysis and then going to the specialized packages. I think that's the best way currently. There are other ways, of course. Personally, I do a lot in R as well, but that's mostly because of the statistics focus.
Okay. So do I need to be an expert in statistics to pursue a career in data and AI?
Oh, that ties to the statistics now. Actually, it helps. It definitely helps to have the background in statistics, but it's definitely not a necessity. Actually, it's possible to like. I think the most important is to have kind of understanding of what is the data that you are working with and what's the model that you are applying it. What are you trying to do? Kind of understand the whole process, and the fact that there is some statistical inference happening in the model, it's something that's not completely necessary to understand. It's much more important, I think, to understand what you're actually doing, what's the process, what's the data, and what's the limitation of your approach. Kind of like the whole picture. I would say that's more important than to understand like details of statistics. But it really depends on the task.
Yes,
So the next
totally
question,
agree.
So the next question is for Redim. So are the skills transferable across or between business analytics and market analytics? What are the tools utilized before enabling AI or ML? As Redim mentioned, that it will be good to start off with data or business analytics courses, which teaches us how to utilize tools such as BI, TIBCO, and Tableau, etc.
Yeah. Absolutely. I would double down on that basically, to start not going all in like into AI machine learning modeling or predictive analysis or something like that. If you haven't started with actual data analysis with something simpler such as Microsoft Power BI or Tableau, Tableau is amazing, and many other tools, and actually starting with the descriptive analysis of understanding what's actually happening in the data, and then if you find the use case there, okay, I would like to predict this into the future and predict it in like more clever way than just taking average of the past or something like that. That's the time where to start using some data modeling. One example, and the skills are absolutely transferable because actually, as I mentioned in the previous question, I think it's much more important to actually understand what is going on in the data and what are you doing with the model. Because once you have this under control, you are much more able to deliver good results comparing to somebody who just comes to the data and applies whatever model they've heard about in the past week and think, okay, this is the best, and it will provide the result. If you're, I think that starting with actually looking in, which is like a simpler tool, just BI at the data and understanding what's going on, it's really good start and totally transferable then to the step up to any more advanced analysis.
Okay. So the next question, we are running actually over time, but we can take few more questions. Would a technical background like computer science be less advantage as compared to accountants or business or marketing student who know more about concepts that are useful as there are more user-friendly or codeless tools in the market?
I will try to answer if I understand correctly. Maybe Dr. Angela, if you then have idea as well. I think that technical background is actually very advantageous for doing data science because yes, there are user-friendly tools, codeless tools in the market, and they are getting more and more powerful. But we are still quite deep in the time where the code is actually much more powerful than the user-friendly codeless tools. I think.
Yes, definitely you will be on advantage because if you have a background in information systems or computer science or even data science, data analytics, you would be advantageous more on because you know the background of the computer systems and how do you extract the data out. Okay, because this whole data science journey is all about how you're going to pull the data from different resources, different data banks, okay, pull the data, and then you're going to like analyze it using algorithms and whether it is a code or whether it is just a drag and drop, you still need to know the back end of how these things actually works, you see. So definitely if you are in, let's say if now you're in the information systems or computer science students as a student, then of course you can actually leverage on what you have learned, okay, in the program itself, and then you can apply things that you have learned into it. But then if you are in the background of accountants, statistician, or economics students or marketing students, and you want to venture into this field, there's plenty of resources out there which you can just pick and learn it on the spot, and it's not rocket scientist, okay, not rocket science kind of stuff. You can actually pick it up once you have finished, because at the end of the day, when you want to apply data science solutions, you still need the field expertise. Okay, the field expertise. So if you are saying like you are from the computer science students or your computer science background, and you are working on a healthcare analytics, for example, healthcare analytics data, you still need to have the field expertise in that area, because you need to have a doctor, all right, to tell you what's going on. You need to have a physician, for example, or a pharmacist to tell you what's going on, right? So the field type is still very, very important. So not to worry, even though you are an accountant or a statistician, you can still look into data science.
I completely agree with you.
Absolutely.
The next question, can the market basket analysis in a BI report helps to avoid churning customers?
Okay, so market basket analysis in a BI report helps to avoid churning customers. Now, at the first place, market basket analysis is to look at the customer's product when they purchase. Okay, certain product, will they purchase product A, then they purchase product B, and then you see whether there's any relationships on this particular two products. So you can actually do upselling, cross-selling on the particular product. So definitely it would help a bit on churning customers, but not so much on that. But of course, you can help to create promotions items, because you know that, oh, they will purchase this, and they can actually purchase another product, and then you can recommend a bundle package for them, and then they'll say, oh, this is so good, I can actually purchase all these things together. Yep. So this can actually help to avoid churning of customers, definitely.
Thank you. So the next question we have, could you suggest any open source data repository for data analytics?
You can actually go into the World Bank. Okay, the World Bank Open Data is one of it. Okay, you can even go to World Health Organizations. That's also open source data. You can even Google up Public Data Explorer, or you can even register open data on AWS, or you can even go visit Kaggle. Kaggle is also another very good platform where you can actually gather lots of data. Yeah, so there's plenty of open source data repository. So you can actually apply those techniques, those algorithms that you learn in machine learning to test out the accuracy of the techniques.
Absolutely. I've mentioned it before, it was part of one of the previous questions, and there is like a lot of it for different types of data. And then I Googled it for a little while, and there is even a Wikipedia list of data sets for machine learning research. And it has like dozens and dozens of data sources for different kinds. It's really curated there. I will post it into the answer just as a link, because it really gives you like a lot of lot of information for any kind of, like, if it's image data, NLP data, whatever.
Thank you. So the next question, I guess this is the last question we have, which is, how do you keep up with the development of technology in AI?
Well, I think that part of it is just to be interested in it and keep up with with the news, and then try new methods, of course. But I think that if and this applies in general for not just for AI, but for whatever kind of interest you have, whether you are able, when you are able to combine something that interests you with something that you do, then it comes naturally that you want to find out more and what has been the latest. So if you are interested in it, if you spend a few evenings reading about AI, it's a very good start.
Yeah. For me, because academicians non-stop learning, okay, so we are 24/7 are continuously learning new technologies, new stuff. We can't run away from relearning and learning again.
Thank you. I guess I would like to wrap up here, although we have one more question. What is considered a successful AI or analytics project? Key criteria.
Well, very good question for last second.
Last question, yeah.
Last question, last second. And I say that this kind of ties back to what has been said about statistics also, that all models are wrong, but some of them are useful. And I think that successful AI analytics project is if it delivers something of a value. And it depends, it's very, very like generally said, it depends what the situation is. But if you want to, let's say, predict future sales and you are able to do it better than it has been done before, it does not matter then the model is not the best in the world or the latest or whatever. If it is delivering value, then it is successful. So I think this is, like, for me, #1 criteria. And of course, if somebody does an analysis that's amazing but does not bring anything to anybody else, then that's questionable how much of a success such a thing is. Really, for me, it is like delivering some actual value, whether it is like improvement in prediction accuracy or actually being able to answer questions with like natural language processing or something like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, for me to add a little bit on it, when you talk about the successful of the criteria, it's more like you are able to actually use different sets of algorithms to test out the accuracy, because you see there's some questions asking, how do you ensure that the techniques or the algorithms that you use can actually increase the accuracy of it? So it actually depends on your model, because you've got to consistently train your model. So there's no like a one fit success model that you can actually follow, but there's a lot of trial and error that you need to like tweak to actually make your model successful. See, so in one single set of you determining whether the model is good, the success of your model is through the accuracy, how well you can actually predict the data and how well you can actually train your data in analyzing the different patterns that's coming in real time.
All right. Thank you so much, Redim and Dr. Angela, for partnering with us and for the wonderful session today. And of course, thank you so much for all the amazing audience for showing so much of love, cooperation, and so many interesting questions. You guys are motivation to keep us going with something interesting and exciting all the time. So I hope you enjoyed the webinar. Please continue to visit our website. And if you have any queries, please feel free to drop us a note at support_kale@shelovesdata.com. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you for
you.
inviting us, and thank you for the great questions. Really, really insightful.
Yes, it's really a great question.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.